Bombshell report, look who approved Russian operatives' U.S. visas to interfere with election, by Rory Grant for freedomdaily.com. The latest news in the Muller FBI investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election has been released. Special Counsel Robert Mueller has dropped close to 12 indictments on Russian operatives because he has evidence they interfered with the 2016 presidential election. However, there is no proof or allegations that the White House administration colluded with these Russians. These Russian operatives who were allowed into the United States, their visas were approved by none other than the former Secretary of State John Kerry. The Gateway pundit reported after 16 months of investigation and over a year and a half of the FBI and Obama administration spying on Donald Trump, his family, his business, his campaign, his transition team, and his administration, Special Counsel Robert Mueller dropped an absolute nothing burger today in announcing charges against Russian operatives who sullied the U.S. election process. The Mueller Special Counsel has yet to look at Saudi donations to Hillary Clinton or Clinton campaign collusion with Russia. The Mueller Special Counsel has yet to look at the hacked, quote, DNC servers, or have not attempted to contact Julian Assange from WikiLeaks. The indictment today contained the same Russian Facebook ads that were released in November of 2017 by the House Intelligence Committee. Mueller and Democrats want you to believe these Russian Facebook ads flipped the election to Donald Trump. But at least half of the ads are pro-Hillary. And Russia claims half of their paid ads ran after the election and 25% never ran at all. Facebook announced previously the Russian ads compromised 0.004% of their advertising during the election. Then there's this. The Kerry State Department approved the visas for the Russian operatives to travel to the U.S. in 2014 through 2016, an attempt to interfere with the U.S. election process. The Daily Beast reported multiple sources familiar with the Senate Intelligence Committee's investigation tell the Daily Beast that Republican and Democrat staffers there have spoken with numerous people who worked in the State Department under then Secretary of State John Kerry. Might I add, Lurch. Tom Malinowski, who was Kerry's Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, told the Daily Beast that he spoke with Senate investigators. He said the meeting was informational and controversial but didn't elaborate. Committee staff have also spoken with John Feiner, Kerry's Chief of Staff at State, according to a person familiar with the conversation. Both Democratic and Republican staff attended. Staffers spoke as well with Victoria Nuland, Assistant Secretary for European and Eurasian Affairs, according to another source. Nuland is a favorite target of Russian state media, which leaked her phone calls in 2014. And Carter Page, the Trump campaign advisor turned FBI counterintelligence surveillance target, blamed her for fomenting efforts that ousted former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych. Yanukovych, incidentally, was one of Paul Manafort's many controversial clients. It isn't surprising that Trump Russia investigators would chat with former Foggy Bottom officials. The department's diplomats have long tracked the Kremlin's efforts to expand its regional hegemony, often using violent and illicit means. Malinowski, Nuland, and Feiner all worked at high levels in the State Department while the Kremlin's meddling efforts were underway. Nunes, meanwhile, has promised to release information about the State Department's potential role in the distribution of the Steele dossier. We are in the middle of whole phase 2 of our investigation. which involves other departments, specifically the State Department, and some of the involvement that they had in this. Nunes told Fox News in his first interview after the release of his controversial memo on surveillance of Page that investigation is ongoing and we continue to work towards finding answers and asking the right questions to try to get to the bottom of exactly what the State Department was up to in terms of this Russian investigation. Okay. Nick Short from #Muller indictment. 2 of the Russians were able to enter U.S. on travel visas, which they received after applying for them through the State Department in 2014. From June 4th, 2014 to June 26, 2014, they traveled around the U.S. Who was head of the FBI and State Department at this time again? Kerry. This entire investigation has been based on the assumption that that President Trump and his people colluded with the Russians in order to win the 2016 presidential election. However, out of all the charges and indictments, there has been no finding to that effect. Manafort and Papadopoulos have been charged, but they were bad actors all along, even when they weren't associated with the Trump administration. As President Trump has noted, this is the biggest taxpayer scam there ever was. While the Russians have no doubt interfered, they have been doing it to other countries too, not just exclusively to the United States. Yet Democrats have made it seem as though this is something that it is not. Instead of wasting federal tax dollars on this investigation, the money should be spent on veterans' benefits, lowering prescription drug prices, federal employee salaries, pension benefits, and more. The American people don't deserve to have their hard-earned money wasted on something like this. Share if you agree the investigation is a waste of time, waste of space, and waste of money. Share if you agree it is time to move on to other more important things. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And so what's the big deal, even if he found it, right? He found this. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. And it had no impact on the election. So give me a break. And John Kerry, and this was going on since 2014. So what are you looking at Trump for? You get what I'm saying? They're not investigating the real criminals, yet they're investigating Trump. That's why they're investigating him, because he's not a criminal. That's why. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.